What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to this multi-time frame analysis. As you can see, we are focusing on oil. Now this one's going to be a little bit different than the other ones because I do not have this already drawn out, as in I'm not going to be revealing them and explaining what's going on. In other words, I'm going to be doing this live with you guys. So if you guys could just like this video and idea, not only does it support this profile and obviously the channel itself that it's being posted onto, but also gives other people the opportunity to see this as well. So once you've liked this and commented down below, we can actually get into this. And what I'm going to start with is on the monthly time frame and just kind of talk about what's going on here. So at first I wanted to kind of highlight some potential areas that are relatively close to our price points. And what this is doing is actually giving us the ability, when we start working with Fibonacci's, to look at critical areas that could be of potential significance for us. So that's kind of what I like to do initially. And then if we go back to the candle chart, you can kind of see more or less what structure is doing, and it kind of based on what we have tied up, or sorry, marked up, that we can actually start seeing areas that are a little bit more significant than others. So we can see that this one is touching 2 points and 3 right now, so it's potentially being tested. So this one was just an area of support once. This one is an area of support twice, potentially turning resistant 3 times, which would test this area of structure, making it significant. And then we also got this area as well. You can see right here that we have multiple areas touching this as support, resistance, consolidation, support, and then it broke through finally and it just collapsed. So this is the monthly time frame. These other ones are potentially significant, and we can kind of see what happens to them when we map on our Fibonacci. So based on this, immediately we can start seeing that there is that there's some convergence with the 38% fib on the monthly, and we got structure as well. And remember, this is the monthly time frame, so if we go down to the weekly, there might be a little bit more significant structure on this particular one, but for this instance, based on this particular impulse, we would want to make sure that we're at least reaching up to the 30%. Based on this particular candle, we do see a lot of momentum for it going up, potentially even up to our golden fib level, which is the 61. And that's something that I'm actually going to be shooting for and arguing for already based on what I'm seeing right here. So if we go down to the weekly, we can kind of determine more or less what is going on here. So you can see, if we bring this back up, on this weekly leg, you can see this was my initial setup, was the 38 on this one, aligned with the monthly 38 as well, and the target was actually going to be the 27, which you can see actually kissed it just perfectly. However, you can see that there was a significant difference between our entry and where it actually started reversing. So it's about 360 pips, and that's why we didn't actually get into this, which is okay. We rather miss trades than gamble and impulsively take trades that aren't necessarily there. So what I wanted to talk about was this area, which was a potential area of resistance based off of the 2 areas of support from the monthly time frame, and talk about how that could potentially be potential resistance. So if we look at this weekly leg, you can see that it's touching the 88% here. So actually, I'm gonna redo this one as something that's a little bit more relevant, is 88 on the monthly, or excuse me, weekly, and then also structure. So this is a potential area for us to start seeing a reversal. We did make it all the way up to the 80, and this is obviously, as you can see right here, potential structural zone for resistance. However, based on the monthly time frame and depending on how this closes within the next couple of days, we could see a major push up to the 60% of the monthly leg, or sorry, monthly fib. So I'm going to write that down, and this is monthly. So we got two potential shorting scenarios coming into play, and what it's really gonna come down to is how price is gonna react at these critical levels. So I'm actually gonna take this take this away, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark up two different areas. Oops, I actually still need this fib. So what I'm doing with this particular trade, as you can see right here, this is a 1 to 3.5 risk reward ratio. We're taking it to the first extension of this particular leg, assuming that this actually becomes the area of resistance and it pivots from here. Then what we're going to do is try to target the 27 fib, and then what we're going to do is we're going to be placing our stop loss above this area of structure. Now, this is scenario number one. What I'm going to do real quick is actually hide this one, because I do want to highlight another potential shorting setup, and that is if we still get continued momentum towards this level, then we would want to see something occur here as well. So let's kind of take a look at what that would look like. Oops, wrong one. This is quite the fall. Now this one might be a little bit less realistic. Based on what price was doing currently, because I mean that's kind of shooting it down towards the $2 range. The fundamentals have been improving slightly, so this one seems a little bit less improbable. But what would be happening here is we would be moving our stop loss just above this area of structure, and honestly we would be monitoring these critical areas right here initially. So we would still get a 1 to 2 risk reward ratio on this one if it did end up going towards our 61 fib level, and that was being our pivot point for it reversing. However, we still have a probability of it coming down here, assuming that this area of support isn't respected and it actually drops through and breaks through. So these are the two potential areas. Honestly, it does have momentum to go up towards the 61 fib based on this candle, because it didn't really get a lot of momentum, and there wasn't a significant pullback on this particular leg. But that being said, this area is significant. As we saw previously, it does have structure here previously, and it's also aligning with the 6/8 fib on the weekly time frame. So in that instance, we can actually we can remove the previous one, set up our targets, and based on how price is going to behave and respond in this area, we can actually start looking for shorting opportunities here. Otherwise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to annotate this right here and say that if price on your entry condition is not respected and continues, look for shorts the 61% fib. So basically, if price is not respecting this area as resistance and it continues to push upward, then we're going to be looking at this area as resistance. But for now, we can start actually looking at potential areas for shorting this trade, for this commodity at this area as it is right now on your entry conditions. Now what that basically means is we got to make sure structure is making pushes towards the downside, and the environment as a whole is actually bearish as well. So this is oil. This is a multi-time frame analysis live. Let me know if you guys like this version a little bit better than the other, and I'd be more than happy to do more of these type of videos as well. So that being said, this is oil. I appreciate you guys. See you in the next video. Don't forget to like this one, this idea, comment down your ideas or opposing ideas down below as well. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.